Hi, welcome back to part 2 of this video. We are literally going to look at 3 commands. That's the print, PDF, and aligned dimension, right? So I'll start with the print. So when you click on it, this print dialog box will pop up. Then you notice that I can also access the same dialog box in this way. Click at file, then from the options that pop up, select print, then click at print. So you notice that you still get back to the same dialog box. Just below print there is printer, then under it there is print name. Alright, then here are the properties of the printer that you use. So maybe in your office, if you have a printer, all the properties of that printer will be indicated under here. Alright, but since I don't have any printer that is connected to my computer, literally I'll have nothing here. So you notice that by default, this is the printer name that comes along with Revit. Alright, these ones, they are default settings. Then under file, there is combine multiple selected views sheets into a single file. Alright, then also there is another option here. Select separate files, view sheet. Names will be appended to the specified name, but for me I always go with the first option. Then for this one is the destination folder that you want to save your work. Alright, but if you feel like you would like to change the destination folder, you simply browse it from here. Alright, maybe you had created a new folder where you want these files to go to. You simply click at this browse button right over here, then this dialog box will pop up. Then you can click at my computer icon, then double click, then you can choose any of the folders in your system. Alright, then after that just hit save, but for me I won't hit save, I'll just cancel it out. Then next we have print range. Alright, I want you to pay attention here because this is where it gets more interesting. Right, when I select this first option, so I'm literally instructing Revit to only print this current window. Alright, so let's try it out. So I'll simply hit OK over here. Alright, I'll instruct Revit to put that PDF on my desktop, then I'll give it a name. I'll call it YouTube sample project 1. Then after that I'll click at save. So I'll minimize of this, then look for that folder, all PDF. It's right over here. Alright, so it literally prints or converts the current window into a PDF. So you notice that all our elevation views are here, right, and our 4 walls that we drew are here. Alright, so that's how you go about it. So I'll close off this, get back to Revit. Then next, still I'll get back to our print command. Then let's look at this second option. So once I select it, then I'm literally instructing Revit only print the visible portion of the current window. Right, it will only look at this visible portion of the current window. That's the only thing that it will print. All right, so let's try it out and see. So still I'll select desktop, then put in a file name, YouTube sample project 2, click save. So it's right over there. Then I'll double click here. So you notice that this is the project we have. So it only printed out the current visible portion of the window. Alright, so I hope you're following. So I'll close off that. The next, let's try it out with the last option, selected views or sheets. So I'll click this circle over here. Then you can see that for these other 2 options, this select button was grayed out. Alright, but once I selected it, it became active. Alright, so Revit is simply instructing you to select the views or sheets that you want to convert to PDF. Alright, so I'll click on this button select, then these select views or sheets dialog box will pop up. Right, I'll first click at check none, then everything will disappear. But how do I retrieve them? I'll simply uncheck this hide unchecked views or sheet. Right, so after that, from here I'll select every sheet or view that I want to be printed. All right, so I'll check that one, check that one, check that one, that one, that one, this one and that one. All right, so once I'm done with selecting all the sheets that I want to be converted to PDF, I'll simply click at this button called save current set. All right, click on it. So Revit will select out only those sheets that you've checked. All right, so after that I'll simply click at this button select. All right, After that, I'll simply hit OK. Then still, I'll put it on my desktops, then give it a name. I'll call it YouTube sample project 3. Then hit save. Then minimize of this. Notice that it's right over here. Right, so these are the sheets that we had done. Right, so that's how you go about it. I'll close off that, then get back to Revit. The next, we are going to handle this PDF. Right, but you notice that the settings that we have handled in here under print, they are literally the same in PDF. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'll click at this PDF icon. Then next, for the current window, it will do the same thing as it had done in the print option or command. Then the same thing will happen for visible portion of the current window. Then also here under selected views or sheets. So once I select this last option, I'll click at this pencil-like icon. Then you notice that under select views or sheets, we still have the same sheets that we had selected earlier before. Right, if I check that these are the sheets that I need, I'll simply click at this select button. Then next, I'll give a file name. Then next, under location, Revit is simply telling you to give it a destination folder where you want to save your PDF. So I'll simply browse it from this browse button, then click at my computer icon, then double click here. Then next, I'll simply put it here. All right, then hit open. Let me put it there. So after that, just under it, there is size, page size. I always maintain it to use sheet size. Then page placement, I always maintain it to center. Then zoom be to page. Then also this other last option, it should be at 100. All right. So next, orientation. I don't always change anything here. Then there's something not right over here. All right, create output using vector processing or raster processing. For high quality PDFs, we usually use vector processing, but if you select raster processing, your PDF will come out pixelated. All right, so how do you notice that it is pixelated? When I talk about the PDF being pixelated, like it's converted to PDF but in a form of an image. All right, so when you try to zoom it out, you happen to notice that the originality of the PDF kind of fades out. But if you use vector processing, even if you zoom out to any extent, the quality still remains the same. All right, so I usually recommend that you always use vector processing. All right, for all your PDFs. Right over here we have options. So you notice that the very first option over here is view links in blue color prints only. I always check it. Then hide ref or work planes, I always also check it. Then hide unreferenced view tags, I always check it. Then for this one, region edges must coincident lines, this one I always leave it unchecked. Then hide scope boxes, I always check this one. Then hide crop boundaries, I also check this one. Then for these other last options, I leave them unchecked. So once you're done with putting in all these settings, you simply hit export. So you just give it some time to export that PDF. Okay, so you just need to click at save. Then right over here, Revit is simply telling you that raster processing has been used for views which use shading, shadows, pointing, clouds, then sketchy lines, depth curing, gradients, all coordination models. These views must use raster processing. To use vector processing, alter the views so they do not use these elements. All right, so I'll simply close off this. So it's just simply giving you an alert of what has just happened. All right, so let's check out our PDF just right over here. So this is our PDF, right? So that's how best you go about it with the PDF. Right, so now let's go to this command align dimension. If maybe you don't want to access it from here, you can simply click at this annotate tab, then you can also get it from here. All right, or else you click at this modify tab, then you can also get it from here. All right, so either way you can still access the same command. That's the very good thing about Revit. Press escape. Then now when I click on it, you notice that there are very many dimensioning commands that come along with it. All right, so you can see them right over here. There is linear, angular, radial, diameter, arc length, spot elevation, then spot coordinate, spot slope. So I'm literally going to take you through all what these dimensions do and how best you can use them in Revit. So Also, you can see that if you click at this drop down arrow, still you can access the same commands that are here. All right, so let's get started. Right over here, our active command is align dimension, right? So literally I just click at the edge of this wall, then also at the edge of this wall, then I pull it up over here. Right, I can also still find the thickness of this wall using the same command, and also this wall. Right, so that's how best you can use this aligned dimension. But now let's look at this linear dimension. So I'll select it. Right, for the linear dimension, it kind of works the same way as the aligned dimension, but for it you simply bring your cursor next to the edge of these two walls, then press tab key at your keyboard until Revit gives you that dot. All right, click, then do the same thing this other side. Press your cursor over there, press the tab until you get that dot, then click. So you notice that I have the same dimension. All right, but you notice that this kind of dimensioning will kind of delay you, so it's better you use the aligned dimension for quick dimensioning. All right, so let's look at the angular dimension. For that case, press escape a little bit, then get back to the architecture tab. I'll use the wall command still, so I'll click on it, then I'll draw a horizontal wall over here. Press escape, then click over there, then I'll draw another wall, but this time it's being inclined at an angle. All right, so I'll press escape. So you notice that these two walls are connected together at this point over here. All right, so but we need to find the angle between this wall and this wall. So how do you go about it? Simply click at the modify tab, then click at this drop down arrow, select angular dimension, then click at the inner edge of this wall, then do the same thing over here. So you notice that Revit will simply give you the angle of these two walls, which is 32 degrees. So that's how best you go about it. So I'll press escape. The next, after angular dimension, there is radial dimension. So let me show you how best you can use the radial dimension. So still, I'll get back to the architecture tab. I'll use the wall command. So I'll click on it. Then I'll get to this sketch mode. Then I'll use this circle command. All right. So I'll click on it, get back to my workspace. Then I'll draw a circular wall over here. Then I'll press escape. Then next, if I want to know the radius of this circular wall, I'll simply get my modify tab, then click at this drop down arrow, then select radial dimension. So I'll click at the inner circumference of this wall. So you notice that Revit will give you the radius of this circular wall. So it is 4,900 millimeters. So next to it is the diameter dimension. So this one literally resembles this. Right, but let me show you how it works out. Go to the architecture tab, select the wall command, then click at this circle command, then do the same circle like the way we had done it here. Press escape twice. Then next, click at the modify tab, click at this drop down arrow, then select diameter dimension right over here. Then next, I'll click at this inner circumference, this circle right over there. So you notice that Revit gives us a diameter of 9,800 millimeters. All right, press escape twice. Then next we have arc length. All right, so for this arc length, I'm going to leave it to you. Then also the spot coordinate, I want you to find out what they actually do and how best you can use them. Then let me know in the comment section if you know how to use them. All right, I'll proceed to the spot elevation. All right, for the spot elevation, things are going to change a little bit, so just give me your attention and I show you exactly how I usually use my spot elevation. I'll click at the side to get rid of that menu, then I'll click at this massing and site, then click at this drop down arrow under top solid, then create it from scratch. So I'll click at this rectangle command, then next I'll draw a rectangle over here. Right, press escape twice, hit finish. Then you notice that we have our topo solid over here. Right, so we are going to add in some points and we give them an elevation. Right, so I'll click at add point, then I'll simply add points randomly here. Okay, that's enough. Press escape once, select this point, then give it an elevation of 1000 millimeters. Then select that point still, give it an elevation of 1000 millimeters. Then do the same thing right over here. So for this one, let's give it an elevation of 800 millimeters. So once you're done, you simply press escape, then click at this section tool, then draw a section over there, right? Then right click, go to view, right? So this is what I want to illustrate using the spot elevation, right? I'll get back to my aligned dimension tool, then select spot elevation. Alright, then you notice that whenever I move my cursor on the surface of this topo solid, you notice that there is a shift in the elevation of every point on this surface. Alright, so if I click over there, that's the elevation at that point. It's going to be different from that point, then still it will be different at this point, right? So also at that point it will be different. All right, so that's how best you can deal with the spot elevation command. All right, so I'll press escape twice, get back to this L1 view. The next what we have is the spot slope. All right, so for the spot slope, this is how best I'm going to illustrate it. I'll get back to my architecture tab, then click at my roof command, select roof by footprint. All right, yes, I'll go to L2. Then next, I'm going to use this rectangle command. Then I'll give it an offset of 300 millimeters. Then next, click at this point. Then draw your rectangle up to this point, right? Press escape twice. Then next, select those 4 lines. Then I can change this angle to 30. So next, I'll hit finish, attach. Then I'll click at this view tab, then click at this drop down arrow next to the elevation command, then select this first option of the elevation, then bring in your elevation over here. All right, press escape, then hover your cursor at the pointer of this elevation, double click. So you notice that just first delete of this. Okay, so this is our roof that we have. I'll click at the annotate tab, then select this spot slope. So you notice that my spot slope is 30 degrees, right? Also here, this one is 22, then also this one is 22. So you notice that my arrow length here is long. So how do you reduce the length of this arrow? So I'll select it, go to edit type, right? Then next, right over here, you notice that there is leader line length. Right, so I'll simply select it, then I reduce it to 15. All right, hit apply, then okay. So you notice that my length has reduced to this, right? So that's how you go about with the spot slope. All right, this is it for this video. If you've really found something of helpful and it has added value to you, please don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and also you can share this kind of content to friends and relatives that you feel like they need of this kind of content. So let's meet in part 3 of this video.